Okay!
We finally have a decent chunk of real Marvel's Avengers gameplay to sort through, analyze, and get impressions of out of Gamescom 2019, and I can't wait to get my hands on it in May of next year, but we have a long road ahead as far as what to expect, what we're going to learn, and improvements that can be made. But today is the first in a series of several videos that are going to be doing this for each playable Avenger. We're going to break down what we saw gameplay-wise, what we can expect from the character, and without further ado, let's talk Captain America. So Captain America to me is one of the more standouts out of this gameplay segment. Obviously, I loved seeing Thor, but we're going to get to that in a different video. So Captain America stood out to me because he seems the most fleshed out as of right now as far as hand-to-hand combat goes. Because with Cap, you really feel a lot of these punches and kicks, and it makes sense because that's his character, that's his fighting style. We're introduced to Cap gameplay through the most iconic movement he has, which is throwing the shield. He uses that R1 ability in the bottom right corner to throw his shield to have it ricochet around and hit all the targets in the room. Based on other characters, I'm presuming everyone's going to have a basic R2 attack. For Thor, it would be throwing the hammer. For Black Widow, it would be her guns. For Cap, it's aiming and throwing the shield. That's the L2 R2 throw we have. It's not the supercharged one. It will ricochet, but you gotta aim a little better. Then we finally get into some really solid CQC from Captain America, which just looks super satisfying. So we can get a sense of Captain America's basic movements. I'm assuming a lot of this is tied to square. Similar to Arkham, we have a dodge button, we have our basic attack, we have a counter or something, because we do see a red arrow signifying an attack from an enemy coming ahead. Comparatively, and the reason I wanted to start with Captain America is because I think it's a very solid display of basic hand-to-hand combat in this game, a really nice introduction to the L1, R1 powers, which seem to be available for each Avenger, because at the end of this combat encounter, we see that that middle circle is filled, triggered by pressing L1 and R1 simultaneously to give Cap a nice AoE attack that clears out the entire room. Having cooldown super abilities in addition to your basic weapon or hand-to-hand combat attacks, it's not some foreign concept, but I think we can get a sense of what to expect as far as progression goes there when we remember that the combat designer for Marvel's Avengers had a huge influence over God of War 2018's combat, which, if you don't remember, or if you haven't played the game, was very similar in sort of having a cooldown ability in addition to your basic axe attacks. You could acquire different skills to slot into your L1 or your R1 ability, or your super that would work on a cooldown. So, if it's the same director, we can assume that for how much talk Square Enix has had out there about customization in this game, making your own version of the Avengers, that we will be able to slot out different superpowers in L1, R1, and our super ultimate. But that's a quick look at Captain America's combat and what to expect from the rest of the team in Marvel's Avengers. I'm super excited for this, but we'll just see how I feel once the beta rolls around. But if you're interested in Marvel's Avengers, if you weren't beforehand, has this new gameplay sold you? I'm curious to know because it does look a little rough in some spots, but again, it's pre-alpha. Once beta rolls around, that's when we're really going to have a sense. So if you did stick around this long, thank you as always. I'm excited. I'm going to be scrubbing through lots of this gameplay in the coming days, so I want to talk about it with you all. But until then, good vibes and good game.